I can bring you in warm, or I can bring you in cold.
This is where the fun begins.
Hello there.
Hello and welcome to Jedi Knights, the official Star Wars podcast for Joy Clicks. My name's Mike, and as always, I have a co-host here, a person very close to my heart, my Buryaga, my Chewie, all my Wookiees down in Kashyyyk, Christian Buckley. How are you, my man?
I'm doing excellent, Mike. Hello, how are you? This is a wonderful day. We got some Star Wars news. Actually, not all of it's good, but we will get to that, of course.
Not all of it is good. Very sad news today, actually, but things that I honestly think were expected, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, definitely. So,
For sure. But yeah, man, how have you been? What have you been playing, doing? Anything fun? Are you excited for summer? I feel like it's going to be a good summer.
yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Birthday is this Friday,
Yeah.
so excited for that. We got some games been bouncing around between, still playing some Monster Hunter. Republic Commando dropped today. Gonna check that out this
True.
week. But
True.
not much other Star Wars stuff really. But what's up with you? How are you doing?
Honestly, yeah, I guess we could talk about Republic Commando right now, really briefly. Like that dropped today on the Nintendo Switch, which is a game from a very long time ago. Uh, and I think Aspire, right? You figured out
Aspire,
it was
yes.
Aspire, yeah,
Yeah,
because it's totally spelled Asper.
yeah.
But anyway, they released Republic Commando on the Switch today. I downloaded it, haven't played it yet, but looking forward to it for sure.
Very nice. Yeah, I saw. Unfortunately, though, I think this re-release is only for Switch and PS4, 5, because I think it's already playable on Xbox through the back compat, and just they're excellent about that stuff. And
Yep.
obviously, it's already on PC. But those versions of the game, you can do multiplayer. Switch and PlayStation, it's a single player campaign.
Yeah, I was looking at that because I had heard something about like like some Republic Commando having multiplayer functionality, but like go on the Switch, it's just single player, which is fine. I mean, I haven't played through that campaign ever. Like I haven't played that game before. You haven't either, right?
No, yeah, it's a completely new experience to me. And at that point, it's like, hey, you and I, we can't squad up as Delta Squad, but we can squad up in the Bad Batch game that's inevitably gonna come as a follow up to this game, right? After this sells really well.
That's right. Yeah, they're gonna see like Republic Commando just do super well on the Nintendo eShop and PlayStation Store, and they're gonna be like, yeah, Bad Batch.
Exactly.
Honestly, I would love to see a Clone Wars game like in this vein, to be
Oh yeah,
honest.
it's super cool. It looks like it's like Halo meets Metroid Prime, and like any other first person sci-fi shooter, but Star Wars. It's super cool.
Yeah, like Halo would just be a very cool like that's just what I imagine it would be
Yeah.
like.
So looking forward to
Yeah,
checking it out though.
yeah, we'll definitely have to talk about it in greater detail once we have some playtime with it for sure.
Hmm.
Um, but anyways, I think we should start this episode off as we always do with from the Jedi Archives. It's a little segment that Christian and I like to do at the beginning of every single Jedi Knights episode. Each of us choose a Wikipedia page and we bring it to the episode. We bring it to the show here and we educate each other and the audience on this piece of Star Wars lore, be it legends or canon. So, Christian, why don't you go first? What did you choose today for from the Jedi Archives?
I chose Coleman Trebor.
Who?
Coleman Trebor was a male Verk Jedi Master who served as a member of the Jedi High Council prior to the Clone Wars. He was killed by Jango Fett while trying to engage Count Dooku during the first Battle of Geonosis. He's 2.13 meters tall, black eyes, gray skin. He died 22 BBY, and his homeworld is Sembla.
Hmm.
So,
Interesting. Does this character appear in any like films or?
yeah, he is one of the Jedi that rolls up with Windu to confront Dooku in the arena.
Oh, interesting. I mean, honestly, like if I saw a photo of this person, I would definitely of this character, I'd definitely recognize him. But the name is like not recognizable to me at all.
Yeah, so the reason I picked it is because apparently he's a meme. Maybe, I don't know. The prequel memes at this point, they've reached like a potential, like a they reached critical mass where like every single
Yeah,
frame of the prequels have been memeified. You know, it seems like.
it's true. What's his name again? I gotta want to see a photo.
Coleman Trebor, Trebor, the last name.
Oh, oh, this guy. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, he has become a meme kind of. He's got like a hammerhead sort of face looking thing.
yeah, definitely. You can see that for sure. But yeah, I've seen
Interesting.
a lot of Coleman Trebor on TikTok as well. So wanted to just throw that out there.
Interesting. Well, I actually chose for my Wikipedia page for From the Jedi Archives, I also chose something that's from the episode 2 Attack of the Clones.
Okay.
I chose R4P17.
Shout out.
Shout out to R4. A feminine R4P astromech droid. Did you know that?
I think I
A
did.
sign. I didn't know that like until this very moment. Assigned to Jedi Master Obi-Wan Kenobi prior to and throughout the Clone Wars. She was destroyed by a Buzz droid during the Battle of Coruscant. Very interesting.
I've always loved R4. I just like
Same.
a red R2D2. That's just cool, you know? Obi-Wan's droid. That's cool.
It kind of goes perfectly with R2D2,
Hmm.
blue and red,
Exactly, the colors of Star Wars.
very much so.
And
Uh
I was gonna
yeah.
say, I appreciate. It's more of a maroon red, much like our alma mater. You know,
Very
gotta love
true.
the maroon.
So that R4 was a Minuteman.
Exactly. Yeah.
So yeah, shout out to UMass. But honestly, what the one thing that always got me about R4 was when she was destroyed over Coruscant in Revenge of the Sith, like Obi-Wan just like didn't care, which is just really funny because if you think about it, if that were to happen to R2, like Anakin would have been like besides himself. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and also funny in the original trilogy, Obi-Wan's like, I don't recall owning an astromech. He definitely did. He owned many. You know, like.
Yes, yes.
Uh,
He just didn't care about them. Yeah, it's just an interesting sort of thing, like,
yeah,
Obi-Wan didn't have as many attachments and stuff. So,
yeah, very
well,
interesting.
cool. We picked. I think that was a really great segment from the Jedi Archives.
Agreed.
So I think we should get on to the news. And honestly, I think we should talk about the saddest news of the day first. What do you think?
Go for it. Break my heart.
Yeah. So this is something that sort of broke late last week. Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga, probably my most anticipated game of 2021 because I'm a nerd, has been delayed once again. Yes, it's unbelievable, but it's true. Traveler's Tales Games, which is the developer, said last week that Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga will not be releasing this spring. We didn't even have a release date for this, though I was guessing that it was going to be May 4th, which is Star Wars Day. I guess it's not happening.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. I saw over the past week, somebody was like, "Oh, hey, this GameStop has an ad that says May 31st," but I think that was probably a placeholder date,
Mm,
which is unfortunate. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this as well. You know, we talked about it plenty of times. Got a big history and a big love for the Lego Star Wars brand, so this one sort of reinventing everything's super exciting. Clearly, they need more time if it's being this ambitious, but I mean, I'd imagine it's still this year, right? Like their statement is kind of vague, but there's not any new like see you next year or anything like that. I think it would still hit this
right.
year probably.
No, I think so too, because if you think about it, originally this game was supposed to come out in October of 2020.
Yeah,
If they pushed it to 2022, that's a long time. I mean, it's definitely possible, but I think they're probably working hard to get it out this year because that would just be like an entire year going by. Not saying that that hasn't happened in the past in the video game industry, it definitely has, but
right.
um, yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't think that we should expect like a summer release for this. I think this is probably something we'll see in the fall. And I have to agree with you. We were talking about this in with Jack, I believe. And if they need more time to make this game as good as I hope it's going to be, because like you said, it is going to be very ambitious in the way that they've described it, then they should just take all the time that they need.
Hmm.
Because I am very excited for this game and I want it to be good. And if they're not ready for it, if they think that if they release it now, it's not going to live up to their expectations, then like so be it. We're gonna have to wait.
Yeah, and worth noting as well, we can bring in some other games industry stuff. I think so. Traveler's Tales is a subsidiary of Warner Bros. And Warner Bros. There are other notable games they had lined up for this year. The major one I can think of is Gotham Knights, which is a new Batman DC game. That was
Also,
supposed
I was reading
yeah.
I was reading I was reading a friend of the show, Jack Martin's article in the Direct, and he said that also Warner Brothers like Harry Potter game
Oh,
too.
yes, thank you for that. That was the other one. It was Hogwarts Legacy, the Harry Potter game from WB, and then Gotham Knights, the DC Batman Bat Family game. Um, Both of those got pushed out of this year. I think Gotham Knights had an actual date on it for this summer. I think Harry Potter didn't, but those both got delayed to 2022. Considering Traveler's Tales is still a Warner Brothers owned studio, I'd imagine if it was getting out of this year, they would have slapped a date on it like those other studios, WB Montreal and another WB studio that's working on Harry Potter. So like, I think if we had a reason to be concerned about not having this game this year, they would have been upfront with that. So I'm
Yeah.
still expecting it for the calendar year.
I mean, you got to think that like internally they're getting a lot of pressures from the powers that be to get this game out too. You know,
Sure.
it's not just fans and all that kind of stuff. And you know, they don't want to, as Warner Brothers and as Traveler's Tales, like I don't think they would want to miss like now that they've said that they're not going to make their spring release date, their original spring or revised spring release date, that they're not going to want to miss like the later in the year, maybe holiday
Mhm.
purchases and stuff like that, because then they just have to wait an entire another year
Yeah.
for it to make sense. And honestly, like the more they wait, like the less like people are going to remember about it. Though there hasn't been much marketing anyway.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know. I was just upset because I really want to play this game. I'm like really excited about it. But if it takes them that long to make it, that's fine.
I'm gonna throw out September. This feels like a September game to me.
I was gonna say October. I was gonna say because I think it was supposed to come out in October last year,
Yeah.
if I remember correctly.
Hmm.
So like just a whole full year.
Dude, I hope we get more news on Hunter soon, because I don't have high expectations for that game, but it's this year also, so like I would like to see more of that, definitely.
For sure, for sure. I don't know. Like we really haven't seen anything from that game. We just saw like a 16-second sort of video that they posted, right?
Yeah, no game. That was completely. I think that was just rendered. No gameplay yet, just a description. So like, maybe we get Hunters sooner than Lego Star Wars to satiate or something. But
Honestly, the description for Hunters wasn't really that descriptive anyway.
yeah, it was like arena combat, swords and blasters. There you go. Like,
Yeah, totally.
but
I mean, oh, sorry.
I was gonna say, they're revolutionizing the Lego formula so hard that they just have to really replicate it perfectly, so that way immediately after this game comes out, they can make another Lego Batman game that is taking from this format. That's
Well,
why
I
they're
mean,
doing it.
I think like if I could just like shift this conversation, I think like one of the things that I'm most excited about from this game is just like how ambitious it is in
Yeah.
terms of like its scale. As they're talking about like, going to different like worlds and stuff and having it be open world and having there be different planets and all that kind of stuff just sounds really big to me and very Star Wars-esque and something I'm super looking forward to, especially because like the Lego Star Wars universe seems to be a different sort of like cut from the cloth of like the overall Star Wars universe. I don't know. So I'm just really excited for that aspect of it personally.
Mhm.
I don't know. Is there like something that you've heard about this game, Christian, that like you're sort of like anticipating at all?
Cover shooting, like
True.
doing the breaking Leia out of the cell and like Luke like back against the the computer monitor and then popping out, getting a couple shots. It's like, that's like an Uncharted or a Gears of War, right? That's just like a game. So seeing that for Star
Yeah,
Wars is cool.
for sure. I mean, like, definitely the old Lego Star Wars games didn't have that.
Yeah. So looking forward to this very much.
Definitely looking forward to it. And, since this is not going to come out on May 4th, then I expect something else big, whatever that may be.
Yeah, maybe maybe May 4th is ahead of E3 time. I know it's not Battlefront's year because we got Battlefield 6 or whatever. Like, maybe something, maybe a tease, maybe an announcement of Fallen Order 2 for next year on May the 4th.
Or maybe some more Switch releases. That'd be cool.
Yeah. Like there was that rumor a while back about the KOTOR re-releases, right? So like just maybe that.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Watch that come true, Christian. You're gonna be like a prophet.
Hell yeah, it's happened before.
That it has happened before. All right, so why don't we move on to the next topic of news? And moving on from video game screens, let's move on to some TV screens and talk about Disney Plus. So on April 2nd, just a few days ago, we had a bunch of old Star Wars content released on Disney Plus. So Disney is releasing this as the Star Wars vintage content. And I believe we talked about this on a previous episode, right, Christian?
Yeah.
I think it was the last one, right?
Maybe it was either last week or 2 weeks ago, whenever they announced that this was happening. We brought it up briefly, but it's cool to see the label they have now. I don't think they talked about that before, and also just like the thumbnails, the consistency of the marketing and labeling between all of it. It's really cool.
Yeah, it does look really cool. But so a lot of the stuff that was released were, as I understand it, like TV series and like TV short films and stuff that were released like back in the 80s and stuff, right?
Yeah, there was a couple Ewok movies, I guess an Ewok animated series, Boba Fett's introductory animated short from the holiday special, and then Genndy Tartakovsky's the Samurai Jack creator, his take on the Clone Wars miniseries that took place between 2 and 3.
Right, yeah. So we got Caravan of Courage. That one came out, I guess, in '84.
I've seen that.
Have you seen that? Is it any good?
No, it is not. It is very much not good. I feel like it's been a very long time, Mike, but like I'm pretty sure there's a human from Earth in that story. I think like a child who lives in a bedroom with toys and TVs and video games, and their dad works a 9 to 5, and then they get taken. I could be wrong, but I think that's what happens in that movie.
Oh my God. Yeah, the synopsis says after Sindel and Mace are separated from their parents, courageous Ewoks aid in reuniting them. So I guess Sindel and Mace, maybe those are the kids from our Earth world.
I think maybe I could be wrong, but like I remember it being reverse ET kinda.
Interesting. That's kind of cool. I mean, I don't know. It's probably just like super cheesy though. Like obviously.
Yeah, it is made for children.
Yeah. And then we have Ewoks: The Battle for Endor, the long-anticipated sequel. That one came out in 1985. Have you seen that?
I don't think so. What's the description for that one?
This one says on Disney Plus, the adventures of the Ewoks continue as Wicket and friends confront the evil marauders. And it has like this very interesting sort of art piece with this like evil-looking dude, and then Ewoks in front of him looking heroic.
Huh. All right.
Yep. Then we have, the story of the Faithful Wookiee, which I believe is Boba Fett's first appearance. It's interesting.
I wonder, do you think they had Tamara Morrison dub over that, or do you think it's the original voice actor?
I don't think they would have him do that.
Okay.
That would be tampering, right? Don't you think?
Yeah, and especially if it's not canon anymore, why would you? But
yeah, it's just not even worth it. Like it's only 9 minutes long too. Like I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah.
Well, it's only 9 minutes long.
Fair enough.
Yeah, but with his friends ailing from a sleeping virus, Chewbacca gets, quote, help, end quote, from Boba Fett. So I guess we have some COVID-19 storylines in there too. Did you know the Ewoks thing on Disney Plus was a TV show with 2 seasons, Christian? Because I sure didn't.
No, I learned about this within the last few days. That is a trip. I did not know that was a thing.
Yeah, so season 2, 13 episodes, and then we have season 1 coming in hot with also 13 episodes. So we got 26 episodes here of the Ewoks TV show, each of them around 20 minutes long. I can't believe that this is a thing.
I can't, Mike. I hope you don't want to watch that because, like, seeing that Ewok show, hearing it's 20 minutes each, and there's that many, like, I just get tired hearing these things because I'm sure it's
I know.
terrible, right? Like, it
I
has
know.
to be,
I just like want to know, like, this must have gotten just like lost to time. You
right?
know what I mean?
I never heard about that.
I've never heard about this either, which is just craziness. Uh, do you think like Luke shows up at all in
I
these?
don't
Like, I don't
know.
like. I have no idea.
I have no idea, Mike. Like, it's so weird because I feel like both of us have been like we grew up with the internet kind of right, like as it was beginning,
Yeah,
and like chat rooms and stuff, and like
yeah.
blogs. Like we growing up read a lot of Star Wars stuff. So like I don't know. I'm assuming it's the same for you. I absorbed a lot of like the culture and the games and the comics and stuff through just the internet growing up. Never in my life Ewoks the series. I've never heard of that in ever.
Straight up Christian. Like, I'm with you. I've never heard of this in my life. I'm looking through some of the names of the episodes, and like out of context, they sound really funny. Rampage of the Flogs, the Traveling Jindas, the Curse of the Jindas. Wow, I don't want to mess with these Jinda guys.
Yeah.
The Land of the Goopins. Come on, this is classic television right here.
Yeah, and just like I don't know, man. Looking at the animation style, like it just looks like I would hate it. I don't
It's
know.
it looks like Disney kind of like, doesn't it?
It looks like Care Bears or something. I can't play. I just something about this. I feel like it's off-putting to me.
Yeah, there is something about it that kind of like really freaks me out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like maybe this is why some people are scared of the Ewoks, dude. Maybe this is it,
This might be
and
why.
this is why
That's
nobody
true.
talks about it because it just brought on so much horror and terror for a generation.
Honestly, Christian, like, what if you're actually onto something? Like, what if like kids like back in the day like saw this like on whatever channel this was on? Like, I don't know. Back in the day, I heard that there were only a few of those anyway. So,
Yeah, like one of the
uh,
6 TV channels that exist.
yeah, like that they just like happened to catch this on, and it was just traumatizing, right? And then like forever, they were just like, "Oh, I don't like the Ewoks," but everyone was like, "Why? They're so cute in the movie." And
Mike,
then they couldn't say.
Mike, I think we nailed it. Go to season. I have the things pulled up right now. Season 2, episode 4. Look at that goddamn thumbnail. That is nightmare fuel.
All right, season 2, episode 4.
Yes, that is horrifying. What
Oh
is
my
that?
God!
What is that?
Wow.
It's this like dude in like a blue and yellow robe. He's got like it looks like a male version of the witch from Snow White, but with flaming red hair and a red beard.
Yeah, and like red eyebrows, and his skin is like super palish green.
Yeah, no, this is a big no for
Nah,
me.
I don't, Christian, and listeners of Joy Clicks Jedi Knights podcast, we will never be watching this.
No, yeah, that's the end days. That's the end of everything.
That is literally the end times. Yeah. You know what?
But
It reminds me of like there is something I'll have to try to remember it throughout the course of the episode, and if I come to it, you're just gonna have to let me say it.
okay.
But it does remind me of a certain animation style. Anyways, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, but thankfully there is one thing that I will swear by in this pack that is excellent. It is truly fantastic. I think
Yes, yes.
that is the Clone Wars. Sorry, just Star Wars Clone Wars, not Star Wars
It's
the
the
Clone Wars.
they're calling it so to differentiate from Star Wars: The Clone Wars. They're calling it the 2D micro series. I think you mentioned you pointed that out before we started recording, Christian. I
Yes,
think.
I believe that's new branding because I own the DVDs. They're are they up here? No, they're downstairs. It just says Star Wars Clone Wars.
Yeah.
I don't think 2D micro series is included, but it's always been displayed that way. It, like I said, is from Gendy Tartakovsky, I believe. I can flub the last name at times, but if you grew up with Cartoon Network, Samurai Jack, imagine Star Wars that looks like Samurai Jack with like the same kind of style of like sometimes it's just quiet, there's no music, and then like a badass thing happens. This was released as a micro series. It was promo material for Revenge of the Sith. It sort of told the story of the Clone Wars in between where we now know the Clone Wars to take. But yeah, it was super cool. It had like the death of Shaak Ti, had the introduction of Grievous in it. So like, it's really cool. Ventress is in here too. Like, there's a lot of really cool stuff in here.
Yeah, I think I had watched this a long time ago for this show, Christian.
Mhm.
I honestly don't remember when it was though. I think it might have been before we watched the Clone Wars. But honestly, I kind of forget a lot of it because it was just so short. It kind of was like a blip in the memory
Mhm.
in a way. Um, but yeah, like this also shows General Grievous and stuff before he had his cough, right?
Yeah, it shows how he got the cough. It's very cool. I always thought it was super neat.
Which is like strange because in the Clone Wars he's always had a cough, I
Yeah.
believe.
hmm Lucas wanted to
Uh,
course correct.
yeah, it's just interesting, man. Like I really love the art style. It's very unique.
Yeah, and like it for me, it was always just a staple because it introduced like the clones having personalities, right? Like you see a lot of stuff from this show, like the clones like paint on their armor. They got like a World War II shark painting that you see on like a bomber plane on like the gunships for the clones. Like it's
Yeah.
really really cool, and it's got a good style and a good attitude to it that I really love.
So the way that like it's sort of kind of like split up is that it's sort of like really short stories, right? Essentially like 20 short stories per episode, I guess, because there are two episodes here that are like an hour, 10 minutes long each.
Yeah.
Do you remember how that kind of works?
So I think it was released as the short stories, but then in these collected editions, it was like they were edited together to be pretty cohesive. So
Gotcha.
there's a full blown arc in the first volume and a full blown arc in the second one. The second one is more about Anakin sort of coming into his own as a Jedi Knight. The first one, he's still sort of in training. Um, but yeah, they're really, really worth watching. I'm glad they're on this platform because uh, I think before they got uploaded to YouTube, the only way you could have watched these, and I think the YouTube ones are probably going to be taken down anytime because of they're on Plus now. But the only way I think to watch them would have been having the DVDs, which thankfully my cousin had, and he gave them to me. But yeah, this is a really cool show that was lost to time, and I'm very glad they brought it to Plus because more people can watch it now, and it's worth watching even though it's not canon.
Yeah, so I mean, maybe you know more about this. Like, how did this sort of change from the Clone Wars of Gendy's Clone Wars to the Clone Wars that we kind of know? Because after this, as I remember it, it was the theatrical release of the Ahsoka Clone Wars movie, correct? And then
Yeah,
after that, it was the TV show,
right.
which we
So
all know and love.
this was, like I said, it was promo before Revenge of the Sith came out, and it was that introductory. I think it premiered on Cartoon Network, because that's where Samurai Jack was, and Cartoon Network had Clone Wars, the Clone Wars with Ahsoka when that began. But yeah, I think it just kind of got swept under the rug once the animated Clone Wars came out because this was just debuted on TV, really short episodes, and then the Clone Wars had this huge fanfare behind it, theatrical release. This never had that, so I think it was just maybe they saw the potential, like Lucas and Filoni maybe saw the potential of telling a story like this after Revenge of the Sith was done, and we're like, hey, why don't we just like really go into this because we got a couple years worth of timeline to really explore, so we could do that in a way that we can tell this meaningful big story with. Because this is, from memory, I don't know how much character stuff there is because I think Ahsoka Clone Wars does have some stuff like that, but this is much more like moment to moment, what are we doing? There is some stuff with Anakin, but like it's pretty straightforward in terms of what it's presenting, as far as I remember.
As I remember from the watch, because like as I'm trying to think about it, and like there was a decent amount of character like development for Anakin in like Gendy's Clone Wars,
Hmm.
more so than any other character probably. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, I'm happy that we have the Clone Wars that became popular and everything.
Hmm.
Honestly, like I'm so happy that we were able to. I'm so happy that we watched that together, Christian, because like I don't know, like I hadn't watched it before that, like on my own. It's just probably one of the best Star Wars pieces of Star Wars media that I've ever watched.
Yeah, but I agree.
Good stuff all around.
Hmm.
Love how all this stuff is on Disney Plus though.
Yeah, because what's only thing that's left is the full blown holiday special, right? And I think we talked about that when this was announced. Like, there's that's not coming, but that's the only thing that's not here, I think.
Yeah, that's definitely not coming.
Yeah. Oh, I wonder if I remember I told this to you. The Cartoon Network again, Cartoon Network and Star Wars, huge thing. They had that Lego Star Wars Revenge of the Sith retelling, and I wonder if that's on here. Not, I don't think it's in the vintage
Yeah,
collection, but I wonder if that's on here yet.
I think it is actually. I think because I don't. I think there were like a few episodes of that, weren't there? Like it wasn't just like one thing.
Well, the original one was definitely just a single TV special, so I don't know.
Uh,
I think they might have done more of that since then, but yeah. I'm doing a quick scan. I'm not seeing much about the specific one from my memory, but
Interesting.
yeah, we got a lot to
Well,
go through, you know.
lots to go through. I think Christian and I were talking about watching Gendy's Clone Wars and doing an episode sometime soon on that. So keep an eye
Definitely,
out for sure.
for sure.
So moving on to the next piece of news, I thought this was pretty cool. So we're getting more Star Wars books, guys, but not new Star Wars books. We're getting old Star Wars books that look new. Uh, Basically, Del Rey Books is re-releasing some key Star Wars Legends novels in celebration of Lucasfilm's 50th anniversary. So on June 15th of this year, there'll be new trade paperback editions of Heir to the Empire by Timothy Zahn, Darth Bane, Path of Destruction by Drew Karpyshyn, and Shatterpoint by Matthew Stover. And each of them are going to have a new book cover with original artwork, and they're going to continue to be adding classic titles to what they're calling their Essential Legends collection, with next editions publishing in fall. So this is kind of cool how they're sort of re-releasing some of these like really well-known Star Wars Legends books, because like as much as I love the canon Star Wars books, like I haven't read much of the Legends books. This might be a good way for me to start getting into them and start collecting some of them. Um, but just because it's not canon doesn't mean that it doesn't tell a good story, right? A good Star Wars story. And I'm happy that Lucasfilm and Disney are still kind of keeping these in their memory and not letting them die out. And honestly, the covers look awesome. Um, so yeah, what do you think about this, Christian?
Yeah, I agree though. It's cool that they're doing this to preserve these and, continue printing Legends stuff because I don't know how frequently they were printing new copies of like the Revan book that I got like a decade ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's really cool, I differ slightly where I feel like there's so much new canon material that I can't see myself putting the time aside to really go in on
Mm,
legend stories, right? Because like a 400-page book is a 400-page book. If one's canon and one's not, I'd prefer to like spend that time on the canon stuff.
fair enough.
Uh, Not to say, like you mentioned though, like you can still tell a good story. I constantly heard praise about that Darth Plagueis book for that Drew Karpyshyn did, and that was Legends. That is Legends. But
I've heard about that one too. Yeah,
mhm.
I'm sure hopefully that'll be added to their Essential Legends collection.
Yeah, that'd be super cool. But out of all of the ones you ran through, I think the one that I'm the most interested in is definitely the Darth Bane one because I feel like Darth Bane's an interesting character knowing what I know about him, I think the creation of the Rule of Two is very interesting. So if I picked up one of them, it'd probably be that one, just to get a good sense of that character before when/if they bring Bane into a larger role in the new canon.
Honestly, I'd probably have to agree with you on that one, Christian. Out of all three of these, I'd rather read that one. I've kind of read Timothy Zahn's interpretation of the canon Thrawn. Not to say that I'm not interested in reading the Legends Thrawn at some point, but yeah, I just don't have as much knowledge of Darth Bane. And this book looks really cool. Honestly, the cover is probably the coolest out of the three of them, too. It's like, I think that's Darth Bane on the front with like, but it's like, I don't know, just like a sketch, like a black and white sketch, but one part of it's red and his eyes are glowing orange, which are it's just very cool. But yeah, definitely that would probably be the one that I would pick up. Shatterpoint, I don't even really know what that one is, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I don't either, but the cover looks cool. You know, Samuel L. Jackson right in the cover, lots of purple. Cool cover.
Yeah. It's funny that like I feel like even 50 years from now we're going to see Samuel L. Jackson like his likeness being used as like Mace Windu.
Yeah, honestly, that's who he is.
It is who he is, but I mean, like, you know, Samuel L. Jackson will be long gone by then, and we'll still be using him in his like, I don't know, 40-year-old Sam Jackson form.
Yeah, iconic though.
Interesting stuff. So iconic. I just think this is a really cool idea, and like you said, I'm probably more interested personally in the canon books, but definitely cool that they're keeping these alive.
Definitely, yeah. I'm glad. You know, we were talking a lot about games earlier. I feel like games as a medium, especially Star Wars games, if we want to talk about just drawing into this series, like game preservation is so terrible. It's so bad. Like nobody really does it well. Like Xbox has been doing it well, and Nintendo does it well sometimes, but like preserving old games, very, very bad. That's been in the news a lot lately because like PlayStation's shutting down some stores. And Star Wars games, there's plenty of Star Wars games that you can just straight up can't access because there's no digital version of it, you know. But I think, you know,
oh, what?
I was gonna say, just putting the resources in to reprint the books, even if they're not canon anymore, I think it's still good, you know, because like it's obviously very different from like getting a game to be accessible on a storefront, but just the commitment to it I appreciate. So
yeah, I don't mean to get off topic, but the whole game preservation thing is very interesting. I don't know, I recently watched some video about like PlayStation Home. I don't know if you had
dude, I
seen
remember
that.
that.
Yeah, and like how it's like I recently watched this and it was basically talking about how bad like game preservation is and stuff because that game got shut down in it because it was a live service game. Like you just like cannot get in it anymore.
Yeah.
Very interesting. But yeah, I mean it's just different than books and stuff because you can always just reprint that. And that's been happening literally for generations on generations. And you know, even the Star Wars books that are coming out now, the canon books that are coming out now, we'll see them getting reprinted in like 50 years. Absolutely.
Yeah. So glad they're committed to it for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And keep coming up with cool covers. Anyway.
Yeah.
So Ahmed Best, he tweeted out, and I don't know if this is not really a spoiler, but he's not on the Obi-Wan TV show, guys. That's what he says. To be seen if that's actually true, because you know Disney likes to do that. But basically, he tweeted, to somebody who tweeted at him about this. Thanks for the love, but I will not be in the series as much as I would have loved to be a part of it. But I'm ecstatic to see folks who I love dearly back together doing great things. Cool.
I'll believe when I
I'd
see
love
it.
to. Yeah, you don't believe it?
I mean, how, you know, Disney Plus seems like they love blowing up Twitter after an episode. Like, Twitter would melt if at the end of an episode one week you hear like Obi, you know.
True. Honestly, I'd freak out.
Yeah, that'd be super hype. That's what they live for. That's what these sub shows live for. It's like, oh, you're not subbed yet, you see this on Twitter, sub for next week, you know. Like
True. Though my favorite like recent Jar Jar dig was in the Lego Star Wars holiday special,
Hmm.
where someone calls Emperor Palpatine like the worst politician since Jar Jar Binks
Yeah.
or something like that.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, he made a mistake. He was kind of fooled into it, but fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, can't get fooled again. Um, so
Yeah.
I'm
But
at best. You never know. He might be in it.
yeah, because you and I are kind of, I think we're still on that train of like, we're expecting a flashback or two to the Clone Wars era in this show. Um, having Jar Jar around, timeline wise, would make sense. I feel like there's two avenues they could go. They could either do like, oh, here's surprise, here's Ahmed Best and Natalie Portman as, returning as well. Or, have Ahsoka be acting with them in a Clone Wars flashback. I think it's probably one or the other, but regardless, I think we will get something like that.
I mean, you could easily get Natalie Portman back. She would absolutely come back to play Padme, I feel.
Yeah, because she's still doing work with Disney, as a whole. Like she's working with Marvel right now on Thor, so like,
Right.
why not?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, she definitely sees it as a plus. At my best though, I mean, I'd love to, like you said, I'd love to see Jar Jar kind of just like pop up. Whether that be on Tatooine, he's like a nomad coming through, wanted to hang out with Obi-Wan for a bit in his hut, or yeah, it's a flashback. I think the flashback's definitely more uh probable in
Yeah,
that regard.
I wonder if it would just be too expensive.
To do like the CGI and stuff and like make it good for 2022.
Yeah, because I mean, CG. I think from how it all works now, like CG's more recreating Episode 1 Jar Jar would be less expensive than it was at the time, right? Like that's just
Yeah.
how tech works. So like maybe they could do it, but I imagine that would still be a big effort.
Well, yeah, you would imagine that like if they're gonna do it, they're gonna want to like do it like, make it absolutely perfect, like
Hmm.
seamless. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like they would want to like do it right. They wouldn't just like make some like crappy asset and like throw it in there and just be like, yeah, look, it's CGI Jar Jar. Like
Yeah.
um but yeah, I would love to see it. I honestly am just super excited for this TV show, and we have some more to talk about that later, actually. But moving on, just very briefly, uh, actress Erin Kellyman, who played Enfys Nest in Solo, she's on the press tour for The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. She did an interview with Jake Hamilton, who hosts the YouTube show Jake's Takes, and he asked Erin whether or not she'd like to play Enfys Nest again. She said that she'd absolutely love to. She says, I think she was such a fun character to play. It was my first movie, and I had such a great experience on that set, and Disney were incredible. If they said, do you want to play her again? I'd absolutely love to do that again. That'd be amazing. And, the next question was, is it happening? And she said, no, not one rumor of it happening. It's sad, but maybe it's a good thing having that one movie and then just leaving it there, leaving it to rest. So I just thought this was interesting and something to bring up. She's been pretty hot recently in terms of the fact that she's the main, you know, one of the main characters in The Falcon, the Winter Soldier. I think she does a good job in that too. And I also thought she did a good job as Enfys Nest. We are a very big proponent of make Solo 2 happen here on this show. So
Absolutely.
I think Enfys Nest would absolutely have to be a part of that if Solo 2 were to happen.
Yeah, like it's super teed up to follow up with her. I don't know if we ever got like a follow up book about Enfys Nest or anything, but yeah, man,
I don't
I
think so.
obviously we want Solo 2 to happen. Obviously, it makes sense for Enfys Nest to be involved in a Solo 2, but yeah, I talked about this last week. Have you seen that episode of Falcon yet?
I did. Yeah, actually, funny enough, I was listening to Excelsior,
Uh-huh.
another Clicks podcast. Very great. Check it out.
Thank you.
Um, and I heard you were talking about Erin Kellyman's character in Falcon. And you were like, you couldn't remember her character's name. You just kept calling her Enfys Nest.
Yeah, because that's who she is, right? In that show, she's playing
I
the
know.
same character.
No, legit, legit. I was like thinking to myself, I was like, I don't even really remember. Like, I was sort of like thinking about her character in my brain as Enfys Nest.
Yeah.
And then you were like, I don't want to keep calling her Enfys Nest, but but it's true. She is like Enfys Nest. But anyway, I did see that.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, she was a cool, element of Solo. Again, Solo has a lot of cool stuff going for it, so you'd assume that in a follow-up they would, continue on with the unique things of Solo, and she's one of them.
Yeah, for sure. I also think she's a cool character in Falcon, definitely.
Oh yeah, for sure.
All right, well, hopefully we see Enfys Nest again. I thought she was a cool character, but I think we should move on to rumors in the Force. The last thing that we got teed up here for the show today. We're going to talk about some footage leak from the Obi-Wan's Kenobi series set. I'd say it's like extremely light on the spoilers, but
Yeah.
if you're not interested in listening to something like this, just turn it off, I guess. But I'd say it's pretty light on the spoilers.
Yeah, like you know where Obi-Wan was between episodes 3 and 4?
Yeah, legit.
Maybe that's where he is in the show.
Legit. Yeah, so anyway, for those interested, a user on TikTok, of course, maybe a colleague of Christian's.
Get on the move, get on the wave. Star Wars TikTok, hell yeah.
A colleague of Christian's on TikTok posted a decently long drive-through video of a set from Obi-Wan Kenobi. It appears to show Tatooine, as it is very sandy and in the middle of the desert and looks like Tatooine. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's just basically, I guess this guy got in like a golf cart or something and drove around and just like filmed footage of the set, and it looks like Mos Espa or Mos Eisley or some sort of Tatooine city. This is again going into spoiler territory, but the leaker says that on TikTok he said in response to some comments that he has other stuff to show next month, namely a fight scene at night. That's what he said. So take that with a grain of salt. Hopefully Disney doesn't just eliminate him before that's able to happen. I'm sure that he's probably already faced the wrath of the mouse. But yeah, it definitely looks legit. Did you watch it, Christian?
I did. I skimmed the post you linked. It looks, like you mentioned, it looks like Tatooine. I'm sure we're gonna get more on Tatooine. I wonder. We've talked about this a lot. Wonder if the entire show takes place on Tatooine, which I think would probably be welcome. I don't think actually, no, because if it's Anakin or if it's Vader versus Kenobi, Vader wouldn't know Obi-Wan is on Tatooine, right? I mean, Tatooine's a big planet, but you think that if we have 10 more years between this show and then A New Hope, in those 10 years, if Vader had the will, which he would, he'd be able to find Obi-Wan on Tatooine, right?
Yeah, he just definitely wasn't looking for him,
Yeah, so if we really are getting that full-blown confrontation again, I feel like we'll have to leave Tatooine at some point, but yeah, it's cool that, we heard they're starting to shoot this month, so sets are there. They're ready to go.
Sets are there, ready to go. I'm sure they're shooting as we speak. Probably, I don't know where they're shooting. Is it in California?
I'm not 100% sure. I wonder if they're going to Tunisia again, because that's where they shot Tatooine before, but
yeah,
for the original. But I imagine that'd be expensive, so I can check though. I can double check to see if they have a location.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of just curious to see if they had anything about the location. I know that there was that sort of that snafu about people thought that they were going to be filming in Boston, which would have been interesting. But no, it just looked like it was sort of in a deserty space, but that could literally be in California too. You know what I mean? So
it looks like LA.
Okay, fair enough.
And I am seeing as well Boston, England thrown around. Disney has a huge set in Little Marlow, Buckinghamshire. That's a name. And yeah, also apparently I didn't know this before, but Ewan mentioned that they're going to be using, this was from February 3rd. I don't know if I missed this, but it said McGregor also says that the series will be shot much in the way that Mandalorian was shot, using the same tech. So, yeah, maybe we aren't on Tatooine for too long then, if we're getting some Tatooine filming out of the way, and then you and say we're going to do a bunch of Mando shooting. So maybe that's the majority of the series.
I mean, I think you're right. Like, Kathleen Kennedy's already said that like this show's going to depict another showdown between Darth Vader and Anakin, or Darth Vader and Obi-Wan, right? There's just no way that like they go and fight on Tatooine. That's definitely not going to happen.
Yeah.
I feel like, at some point in the show, Obi-Wan's going to get like put on some sort of journey, some sort of task and adventure in which he has to get into his Jedi starfighter and get the heck out of Tatooine. Do you think he still has the starfighter? I think he does.
That'd be cool, like I remember Fallen Order had the crashed starfighter that Cal revisited, right? Like that's pretty cool. I like that concept. And what's really exciting, Mike, is like crossing out the things we know can't happen, because then it's just like my mind's racing. Like, where the hell are they gonna fight? Because it can't be on Tatooine.
Yeah,
probably. It can't be on the Death Star, because Ben is like stunned about the Death Star as well. So like, I don't know where it would be, but that's so exciting, like
Mustafar again.
Yeah, like
what if Obi-Wan goes to Vader's castle and they fight in Vader's castle on Mustafar?
I'm envisioning a area where it's either snow or like cherry blossoms, just like flowing through the battlefield as they're fighting. Like that's what I want so bad.
Wait, so like a Japanese cherry blossom arena from like Ghost of Tsushima.
Exactly, yeah. Perfect. You nailed it, Mike. Great idea.
Literally that would be sweet.
Yeah, just do like a space Star Warsy version of that. An entire pink planet with just a bunch of trees and there's constantly cherry blossoms flowing.
That would be cool, actually. That would be like an interesting Star Wars planet.
Yeah, we've never seen anything like that as far as I know before, so again, a good opportunity to introduce a new element to the universe in a new Disney Plus series.
I'm just so excited to learn more about it, and I just think that over the next few months we're gonna, maybe we won't hear a bit for a few months, but I think toward the end of this year we'll start to hear a lot more about this, and it's just gonna get more and more exciting. I just like can't wait till we see our first trailer or something like that.
Yeah, I know we've talked about it before. Like, I think you and I have a couple realistic hopes and predictions for May the 4th, right? I don't think Kenobi's on that list. Maybe like an official picture of him back in the suit, in the outfit, I think we could maybe see on May the 4th, but
some sort of photo, yeah.
Yeah, or maybe like Vader's outfit and it's like, oh, Hayden's underneath it or something like that. Like, I think we could get some cool pictures and official posters for Kenobi on May the 4th, but as far as a trailer goes, like, we still gotta deal with trailers for Mando Season 3 and the Book of Boba Fett, so I don't know when you're hoping to see footage from Kenobi, but like, I imagine this is gonna be a Disney Investors Day this year, like there was last year, so maybe then, but when are you thinking?
I mean, I don't know, right? Because like they're saying sometime in 2022, and if they're filming it now, that makes me think sometime early 2022, right? So spring-ish, right? So I don't know, man. Like maybe sometime later this year. I think of Investors Day may, like you said, probably is a good bet. But it's just really hard to say because, like you said, we have no footage from the Book of Boba Fett, no footage from Mandalorian Season 2, no footage, no trailers for Cassian Andor or anything like that. So I don't know. We got to get through what's coming up first before we see anything from Obi-Wan. But I think we're going to see some sort of footage this year. But I don't think it's going to be until way later in 2021.
Sure, because we also saw Cassian stuff last year, right? But it was
right.
That like docu style thing, right? It was like a making of kind of.
Yeah, and it almost looked like they were like the actors themselves were just like testing, like I don't know. Did they film that yet? I thought they hadn't filmed that yet.
I think
But
there's Cassian.
yeah, they are filming that, aren't they?
They're currently filming.
I'm
Yeah,
just
like
stupid.
I think they started filming around November, if I remember correctly.
Gotcha. So they're still filming it.
Yeah. So, you know,
So are we gonna get that first, do you think?
oh,
Before
mhm,
Obi-Wan?
I think so. I bet.
Uh, that's sad.
I know. I mean, I'm excited to explore more about the rebellion. That's gonna be exciting. But yeah, I would bet that the way it goes is we get Book of Boba Fett after the Bad Batch this year. We get the beginning of Mando season 3. That bleeds into early 22, and then maybe around March next year we get Andor, and then imagine if it's the summer. That'd be amazing. Summer or fall, we get Kenobi. I would imagine.
I feel like fall is probably more
Sure, that's
like
that's fair. Like I could see them, because they like having the summer with Bad Batch being teed up. They want to have that constant flow. So maybe, but yeah, I think summer ideally, or like fall realistically for Kenobi. I'd imagine of 22.
yeah, that's kind of sad. But I mean, they're gonna need a lot of time to sort of like get their ducks in a row in terms of just like the post-production on it and everything.
Yeah.
Um,
So
I mean, so I think it's been confirmed that the Obi-Wan TV show is going to be just a limited series. Do we have any inclination that that's going to be the same for Andor, or do you think that that's going to be something that we'll see sort of like serialized?
I don't know. Honestly, I feel like it'd be interesting, but I don't know how many seasons you could get out of Andor.
Yeah.
Because like I'm checking. Okay. This was from January of this year, from Screen Rant. Cassian Andor show could have multiple seasons according to Alan Tudyk.
Mm. Oh
Who
yeah, because he was talking about how he was told that he may have like a future role.
Yeah, so his specific quote was, um I'm going to be in the show. It's just that the story that Tony Gilroy is telling doesn't involve K2SO until later on. I can't be too specific, but I can definitely say that I'm not going to be in the first season.
Yeah, okay.
So, yeah, Cassian I think makes sense. Maybe Cassian's stuck to 2 because there's only so much time you can have there, but
Yeah.
Maybe, I know we kicked this around. Maybe if Kenobi is just a massive hit, maybe we do another one. But like,
You mean Kenobi season 2?
I think it could be interesting to explore maybe, because again, I don't know what the budget of this show is going to be like. It seems like it's the most ambitious one so far for Star Wars. Like,
Yeah.
maybe, just maybe, this is pure hopes and dreams right now. This show, really good character study for Obi-Wan, focused on his life on that in between. We still have 10 years between when this show takes place and A New Hope. So yes, you could fit another story in there if you wanted to. I know people would have the debate of does that lessen his exile, the effect of it at some point. But I think you could also have the benefit of doing a limited series about Obi-Wan in the Clone Wars. I think you could do that, honestly. Get Hayden and Ewan and Rosario, get them together for a 4 to 6 episode thing centered on Obi-Wan.
Oh my God.
Because Mike, if it does really, really well, think about
Yeah.
that. Of course you would try to find another way to do this. And
Yeah.
I think there's potential there. Because as much as I love Obi-Wan and as much as I love the Clone Wars, I feel like Obi-Wan never got a full-blown spotlight as much as Anakin and Ahsoka did in that show.
For sure. And I mean, I feel like if they're all willing to do it, and because the Clone Wars already is pretty hot, it would just be a no-brainer for Disney to sort of cash in on that, and just decide to bring back the old crew plus Rosario and just make a 4-episode, 5-episode Clone Wars miniseries or something.
Yeah, this is
That'd be
pure
amazing.
dreams, but I wouldn't rule it out. Clearly they love playing these characters. Give them another shot to do it.
For real. I mean, think about this though. Like when Disney bought Star Wars back in like 2012 or 13 or whatever, it was just pure dreams. And we were like, oh, maybe Obi-Wan will come back.
Yeah.
And look at us now. So never count it out.
Yeah, I think that's completely, it's fair to hope and dream. Don't put your chips on it. Uh,
No.
And like, because look at what happened with Ahsoka, right? Ahsoka was brought to live action with Mando. That was received incredibly well. So then I'm sure they were planning this beforehand, but they were like, okay, yes, reassured now, let's do the Ahsoka series. So Obi-Wan being a limited series, telling a contained story, maybe we sprinkle in a little Clone Wars flashback. That's received really well. It's like, hey, you know what? 3 episodes. There you go.
Yeah, like they do sort of like a bottle episode sort of thing. And just put it into, put some Clone Wars flashbacks in. People love it. That's a recipe for money, maybe, baby,
Yeah,
Like,
because I think Obi-Wan is such a great element of the Skywalker saga that people aren't tired of, like, and, you could reach a point of oversaturation of Obi-Wan. I wouldn't care. I'd be very happy. But
oh yeah, yeah. There's no such thing as oversaturation. Obi-Wan oversaturation.
fair, yeah. But, like, I think Obi-Wan has the benefit of just having so much of his life covered for the involvement in the central story that, like, telling more of an anthology sort of thing about his life and different points of it could be a super interesting approach if they wanted to do multiple seasons, and
For sure.
you can age him up or age him down. He's still gonna look like Obi-Wan because he's aging very well. So I think there's absolutely potential if they wanted multiple seasons. If not, completely fine, super cool, very grateful we're getting just one more Obi-Wan project, but there's a shot.
Honestly, yeah, like it's also that thing that like if they just decide to make this Obi-Wan project and that's it, like I'd be fine with that.
Oh, for
Like,
sure, yeah. I honestly I
I
prefer that
don't
kind
want
of
to sound greedy.
yeah.
Like I don't want to sound greedy. Like I will take as much like any Obi-Wan I can get. And if this is it, if Ewan McGregor is like kind of just like done with the character and they're not really interested in pursuing him anymore after this, like that's fine. Like as long as I get my Obi-Wan fix one more time in my life, you know?
Yeah.
Um,
And I'm glad you bring that up too, because like I respect that so much. Like when people are
yeah,
like I really respect when a creator is like, hey, we're not dragging this out. Like if the Nolan Batman movies were like it begins in Dark Knight and that's it. I think much higher of that as a unit of a story than doing a third one because like we got to do a trilogy. Like so if the approach is like, hey, we're doing this really intricate Obi-Wan story to really be a defining moment for this actor with this character, and that's it, then hell yeah, that's perfect. That's exactly how I'd want that character to end off. But if there is a plan, I'd
yeah.
enjoy
I
it.
mean, it's like the Walking Dead versus Breaking Bad problem. It's like Walking Dead didn't really have an end in sight, so it just kept going forever and ever and ever.
Mhm.
But Vince Gilligan had a very uh, straightforward idea about where he wanted Breaking Bad to end.
Yeah,
So,
and like
um,
also more immediately look to the immediate Disney Plus comparison with like a WandaVision, right?
true.
WandaVision, I think you don't need to do a season 2. You told the story that needed to be told through this medium, and that character will move on to something else, Doctor Strange. So like Falcon and Winter Soldier or Loki makes sense to have multiple seasons because they're more suited to like the story is more about here and now versus like this overall thing. So like I think there's an element of balance, it's a case by case thing. Obi-Wan definitely makes more sense to be a one-off project than something like a Mandalorian. So
Yeah.
whatever the decision they make, I'm sure it's going to be the right one.
Yeah, and like I said before, and like you said, if they decide to give us more Obi-Wan, great. If they decide this is it, great. Just Obi-Wan. That's all I want.
Yeah, hell yeah.
So yeah, I mean, if you're interested in seeing any of this set footage, definitely go check it out. It's kind of interesting. But yeah, for sure, we'll be seeing some more about this in the coming months, years, probably. Uh, I just think we're really in a renaissance period for Star Wars, and I'm just really excited about Disney Plus and all of the opportunities that brings, because Star Wars to me is just way better as a TV show than as like a movie. Not, I'm just saying this, the Skywalker saga is great, but just Star Wars as a TV show is just something that I've always wanted as a kid, and now we're finally getting it. So,
Yeah. Oh, well, clearly, Mike, you missed the seminal Star Wars TV show Ewoks.
oh well, I missed yes, the Emmy, oh, what is it, Emmy, yeah, Emmy award winning Ewoks TV show
Yeah, you missed it.
that we all got like Men in Black like mind erased to, I guess.
Yeah.
Like everyone forgets,
Hmm.
but except for Christian and I. Now on
Yes.
Jedi Knights, we never forget.
Yeah. No, but you're completely right. It's a great time to be a Star Wars fan. And I'm glad we're moving on from the constant. It still happens, but I'm glad we're moving on from the constant like sequel discourse, because there's so much potential for new stuff. Move on. We're good. We're in a good era. So
I agree. It's gonna be fun.
hell yeah.
And I'm glad because we got this podcast and we're going to continue to talk about it. So let's bring it on.
Absolutely.
So I think that's really all I had, Christian. I don't know if you have anything else to add, or otherwise you want to take us out to sea for this episode.
Yeah, sure. I think that's it. Next week, most likely, we will be talking about the Clone Wars series. If you want to watch along with that, we'll probably do both episodes because each one are about like 80 minutes long. One is closer to an hour, but yeah, we can talk about that next week, barring any other major Star Wars news, which there probably won't be. I feel like we've been served up some good stuff over the past week or two, so it's probably going to be entering a lull period. But thankfully, we got this new content to talk about. So, look forward to
we
that.
do.
But Mike, in the meantime, where can everybody find you?
You can follow me on Twitter at Mike P. Connors.
Very good. You can follow me on Twitter, Twitch, and TikTok at Chun2D2. This show is available on youtube.com/joyclicks, as well as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, your podcast service of choice. If you'd like to listen along, you can do that. If you enjoy the show, leaving a rating or a review on your given platform would be greatly appreciated because it helps us out a ton. If you want to follow along with the show on Twitter, at Jedi Knights JC, every time we post an episode, you'll get it there. And if you want to get involved further, patreon.com/joyclicks at the $1 and $5 tiers. $5 tier gets you producer credit on all of our podcasts, like Chris Sakas and Aaron Easton. So thank you very much. And that's going to do it for this week with Star Wars. Mike, it was a pleasure. Thank you for running the show, as always. Incredible.
Yes, it's a pleasure. I love hosting the show, and I love it when you host the show. It's just, this is like, we talk about this, but I look forward to this every week, Christian. It's always a pleasure.
Hell yeah. Star Wars is great. This podcast is very fun to do. So I'm looking forward to next week. And we're going to talk about some badass lightsaber fights, dude. That show has got some good stuff.
You're damn right we are.
So until then, though, we're fine. Everything's fine. How are you?
May the Force be with you.
Oh, yes, you're right. Beep is up.